Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Colonel, for being here today. Much appreciated. Before we start, I have to do the obligatory shout out to the guys at the Katanning and the Indiana Barracks who are heroes every day. I know
they're watching and they'll appreciate it. So
that's great guys, all of them. On that line, I have a question. Colonel, I appreciate the gentleman from Monroe's interest in my fine sharing bill, but there's a slight difference in what you're projecting as opposed to what was originally proposed. I don't remember the part about buying equipment and stuff, and what I am concerned about is that if we do enable legislation for vehicle fine sharing in the townships, where it'll apply mostly, how much of that money that we're actually going after in fine sharing is going to be used to train new cadet classes? That was the focus, you know, and it is my focus.
that was, it's my understanding, and of course I don't propose legislation, but it was my understanding that in the governor's budget that money was to go to radios this year. Last year I believe the proposal was that it was going to go to cadet classes, but that was not, that didn't go,
it didn't get off the ground.
It didn't get off the ground. This year we're, when I talked to the governor and the budget office and explained the problem of the radio system, I believe that they that's what brought this. It is for safety equipment and for our radio equipment. If we don't get legislation or a funding stream for it, somehow or another we have to have this radio system taken care of. That's if I don't get one message clearly stated today, that's what there is no alternative to us not dealing with this radio issue. And it's coming up at the end of this year. So, but that was my understanding, that this money was supposed to go to the radio system.
Well, that's, stuff changes, you know, it happens. Here, my question then, back to the shortage on cadet troopers. It's widely spoken about within the legislature that within the next 5 years we're going to have a tremendous turnover on troopers within the complement. I'm looking how many cadet classes should we prepare to have to do, because right now we're at that point, but if we wait much longer it's going to become obligatory and, you know, something that just kind of gets forced on us. How many retirements as a percentage would you project going on over the next 5 years?
Well, we have we're allowed to project 150. We have 1,000 troopers right now that are eligible to retire. So I would expect all 1,000 of them to retire sometime within the next, not all of them, but most of them will retire in the next 5 years.
Well, typically how many cadets will you train at one time, per se, in one class?
In one class, we could go up to 150 in one class.
So we could be 6 or 7 classes here just to get you back up to your allowed complement.
Right, and what scares me is that we would have a massive retirement. This is a contract year for the Pennsylvania State Police. Now, and that's where you hear that, well, there could be 1,000 retirements, because, I mean, it could be. I don't anticipate that. I don't know. It's an individual decision, so we don't know how many we're going to have, but that's what we're looking at. And just also along your point, it's not like a civilian employee where I can just go out and hire somebody. It's a 6-month process in the academy, and then afterwards it takes quite another 6 months before they're really ready to operate on their own. And the background investigations, it's a very lengthy process. So it's something we want to try to get ahead of if we possibly could.
Sounds like something we ought to get hopping on very quickly if we're 6 or 7 cadet classes down. I want to shift gears just for a second and change focus. Let's talk about PICS, Pennsylvania Instant Check System. This past weekend it went down. I had numerous people at gun shows trying to buy rifles in legally licensed firearm shops. Could you please tell me what redundant system do we have in place if PICS fails?
Redundant?
Yes. If somebody goes up to legally purchase a firearm in a store and PICS is down, what can that person do to legally purchase the firearm?
You can't. I don't believe you can purchase a firearm.
So you have to wait till PICS is back and operational.
Right, but just to point out that the PICS system wasn't down this weekend. It was the JNet system that was down. We checked with JNet, and since that system was down, we had to do hand searches. But it wasn't the PICS system, which is currently being. We're upgrading our computers. I believe we're starting this week too for the PICS system. Not
to be critical, Colonel, but I'm one of those people who got caught up in that PICS mess. Okay, ordered a rifle, paid cash for it before Thanksgiving, came in right before Christmas. The store called me to come pick it up. I went in there, all the proper ID, laid it on the counter. PIX was down. Now, this was a couple of days before Christmas. I really wanted to have my hands on this rifle, okay? It's Christmas. Thank you, Representative Costa. But owing to the holiday, that gun store then proceeded to give its employees time off over the season, and this rifle that I had paid for before Thanksgiving now pushed back past January. When we came back into session early in January, it added more weeks, and because PIX was down, I had to wait an extra month to pick up something that was legally mine. Mm-hmm. So my question is, when PIX goes down, how do you address people legally, lawfully buying firearms? This has happened a number of times, Colonel. Anytime there's a big gun show or collector's thing anywhere in the state, the whole system crashes. Mm-hmm. It's happened too many times.
We're trying to upgrade our system, but the other systems that we check on, I mean, I don't have control over, like JDEN or something like that. We are working hard. We did a survey with gun dealers, and because we were trying to increase and improve our customer service to the gun shows and the gun dealers. And I was happy, actually. We had a 96% positive response from the gun dealers in that survey. We're working on it. We're trying to get this done. It is a law in the state of Pennsylvania that we have to do these checks. If the PIX system is not in operation for whatever reason, or one of the subsystems, you can't legally buy a firearm in the state of Pennsylvania. We have to do the check.
I normally find myself in cahoots with PSP 100% of the time, but I'm going to nibble into that a little bit. Mm-hmm. There's currently legislation pending in the Pennsylvania House that says if PIX is inoperable, we automatically revert back to the federal National Instant Check System, NICS. Mm-hmm. PIX, NICS. If
right.
PIX goes down, we go to NICS. Just letting you know,
sure.
If you can't get PIX fixed, and boy, that's a mouthful, PIX, NICS fixed, but if you can't get that fixed, I can see that legislation having a little bit of traction. Mm-hmm. And what is your take on that?
Well, here's the thing. After 3 days, if PIX were to be down for 3 days, which I don't think it has been, but if it ever is down for more than 3 days, then we do revert. You can just do the NICS checks. Now, the only concern I have, and understand, there's a law. We're the ones
right.
charged with doing this with the PIX system, and we try to do it the best we can. There are a number of checks that PIX does that NICS does not do. And what the worry always is that someone will slip through, not like yourself that should have gotten a gun, but somebody that would not be normally entitled to it that will get it, and that is our question. But I would be happy to work with anyone to make the PIX system better. That's what I want to do.
Representative Costa might disagree with you on that one about me being able to go into the NICS system. But anyway, on that matter, I see Representative Christiana's not here. I know he has a couple of questions he wants to ask, so I'll sit down. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You bet.